Welcome to Pick a Card, Any Card.
where we pick a card
Any card.
and bring it back with Whip of Erebos like we do every single week.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Devin.
Today's cards are Mortician Beetle.
And Shadowborn Apostle.
You stealing my thunder?
Yes, I
Thunder
could have sworn
Stealer?
I did both of them. Would you like to do that bit again?
Devin, a thunder stealer.
Yep.
No, it's
No, my title is Voice of Nightmares.
fine. Well, not anymore. Your title has been replaced,
Damn
just like Jace.
Yeah, but Thunder Stealer is it like Thunder Thief. That works. Or Lightning Thief? No, that's Percy Jackson.
I like Thunder Stealer.
We'll work on it. So let's get onto your card.
Yeah, let's talk about Mortician Beetle. Mortician Beetle is a fun little card. It's 1 black mana for a 1/1 insect.
Very similar to my card, which is also a 1/1.
And our cards go really well together this
They do.
week.
They-
It's like we didn't even think about it.
Well, it's almost like we're talking about black cards.
Mortician Beetle's ability reads, whenever a player sacrifices a creature, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Mortician Beetle. The flavor text reads, to the soldier, war is famine. To the scavenger, a feast.
I like that.
I do. I think that flavor text actually goes really well with
I mean, it works with them, yeah.
with the ability.
Hold on, what was this card from? Rise of the Eldrazi?
Rise of the Eldrazi.
Okay, that actually makes even sense because while the Eldrazi are running around killing literally everything, beetles hide under rocks and shit, eat stuff, until they get too big and then they can't hide under rocks and the Eldrazi eats them. Maybe this is not a good idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Hide under rocks and eat shit.
I mean, yeah, until you get too big because you get 1/1 counters on them.
Yeah.
So eventually it'll get too big to hide under a rock.
You get a bigger rock.
Good point.
Zendikar has mountains, and they're constantly rearranging themselves.
That is true. That's what Zendikar does.
So, what I like about Mortician Beetle is whenever a player sacrifices a creature.
Any player.
Any
you,
player.
Your opponent, whatever.
That makes it incredibly easy to build around.
It's kind of annoying that it isn't whenever any player sacrifices a permanent. So they're like, aha, fetch lands.
Yeah, no, that would actually be great. Turn 1 Mortician Beetle, and then your opponent's like, oh man, I was gonna go fetch for a land.
Like, I'm still going to, but I don't want to now.
It's flavorful, though, because beetles don't eat land. They eat dead things.
Yeah, but in Zendikar, the land was dead. At least in this, in not Rise of the Eldrazi, but in like Battle for Zendikar,
I mean,
the land was slowly dying.
they sort of did that in all of them just because of Kozilek's ability to just destroy landscapes.
True. Well, they all have the ability to just destroy lands. Well, sorry.
Kozilek's corrupted.
Ulamog and Kozilek both like ate and destroyed it. Emrakul actually didn't do much to
Yeah,
landscapes.
Emrakul couldn't really affect the landscape.
Well, other than just smack it out of the way.
Right. But with Mortician Beetle, it's eating the dead creatures, not the dead land.
Living things, yes.
Yeah. So
It makes more
flavorful.
sense in flavor. I'll do that.
It would be a better card overall if it was permanence, yes.
Yes. And it wouldn't be awesome if it was like instant speed and it just said you win the game.
Wouldn't everything.
Yeah.
I like the flavorful interaction between Mortician Beetle and Morgtoad.
Morgtoad.
Morgtoad is a 3-mana frog that you can sacrifice to add a red and a blue to your mana pool, which in turn pumps Mortician Beetle. So you have a Mortician and the Morg.
No, he's a toad that lives in the morg. They work together. They're friends.
Okay.
Even though one's from a dual deck set and the other one's from
No,
Rise of the Eldrazi.
It's from Planar Chaos.
That clearly says expansion. Dual decks, Ajani versus Nicopolis.
Plane shift.
Shut up. That is plain shit. Still, they're from completely different sets.
Yes.
Though I do really like that.
So,
Adding blue and red to your mana pool is a little out there, but alright.
Grixis colors.
Yeah, but still.
It's the ally of black.
Yeah, I'm giving that is fine, but like you sacrifice a black creature to add red and blue to your mana pool. It's just a little strange.
Well, I like the flavor text explains it. The toads of Urborg aren't fast, powerful, or pleasant, but they have their uses.
That is true.
And it is useful.
It still doesn't make much sense that it has blue and red.
Well, it's a frog, so there's your blue.
Okay. And it explodes,
And it
so that's
explodes,
red, I guess.
So there's red. There's a little explosion behind
There
it.
is. And he's got a red tongue.
So, yes. It doesn't need to make sense, it just needs to work.
I'll give you that.
But yeah, I like the interaction because their names relate and their abilities go well together.
Yeah. Kind of like casting Hero's Downfall on like any card that has hero in it.
Or a card with heroic.
Yeah, just nice little fun things.
Yeah, no, I like things like this. It's like Force of Savagery with anything with savage in the name.
Yeah, which we spent an entire episode on.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of like if there's any other card that I know that has morgue or mortuary in its name, and I don't think so.
Mortuary Mire is a land, but it doesn't
That is true.
work the same.
Yeah,
Actually, no. Mortuary Mire would work.
Isn't it just a blue-black?
No, Mortuary Mire is a land that comes into play tapped, and when it enters the battlefield, you return target creature from your graveyard to the top of your library.
Oh, alright.
So, your Morgatoad can bounce back. But
Good job. You should be proud of that one.
Oh, let's talk about sacrificing creatures.
Yeah.
With yet another blast from the past. We do this like every week now.
We do.
It's just a card
It's almost
we
like
talk
you.
about
It's
constantly.
almost like you talk about cards that are like good in almost any deck.
It's almost like I talk about my favorite cards all the time.
That is true.
Welcome back, Ashnod's Altar. Ashnod's Altar.
Now that we have that new fancy art,
Oh my goodness.
that is some nice art.
It's
by the way.
fantastic. And there's foil now. Okay, so we have to talk about this just a little bit. The week after, it wasn't even the week after. It was like 2 days after
was the
we
next
recorded
day.
the first episode. Yeah, okay. So the next day after we recorded the first episode of this podcast.
No. It was after we published it.
Was it after we
Yeah,
published
because
it?
because I wasn't able to use the art from the new one.
That's right.
Because it just came out
hadn't
that
been
day.
spoiled. So the day after we published the first episode of this podcast, complaining about how there hasn't been a reprint of Ashnod's Altar, they reprint Ashnod's Altar.
Yep.
And I was tickled pink. They have new art. It was in Eternal Masters. And that's what we were complaining about, was the fact that it didn't have any new art.
Yeah.
It's obviously been reprinted
They
several
reprinted
times.
it several times, but it was like the same old, boring, not very good art.
And now it's got new art, and Greg Staples, you did a fantastic job.
Hey, Greg Staples. He's one of the more common names of the artists.
Yeah, he's done quite a bit.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. And he did Ashnod's Altar, and it's good.
It's fantastic. I applaud you, Greg Staples.
Good job, sir. Anyway, Ashnod's Altar, just sack your creatures.
Add mana.
It may actually not work due to the fact that I'm going to assume that the majority of the creatures we have we're going to have sacrifice abilities anyway, or similar things, or be the 3 creatures in the deck that we don't want to sacrifice, such as Mortician Beetle.
Well, you can always run Tenacious Dead.
Which one's Tenacious Dead?
Tenacious Dead is a one mana skeleton, costs a black.
Skulldon!
When Tenacious Dead dies, you may pay 1 generic and a black. If you do, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So you can sacrifice this to Ashnod's Altar, use one of the colorless mana that you generated from it, and bring it back.
I guess.
I feel like we've talked about this combo before. You mean you still have to pay a black, but...
Yeah, but you turn all of your colored mana into colorless mana. That works, and like you're cycling through death triggers, so that helps.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the card that I think would work really well with this, Dictate of Erebos.
Oh, yes.
Because not only do you want your shit sacrificed, but you want your opponent's stuff going away.
Dictate of Erebos makes all of your sacrificing doubly effective for Mortician Beetle.
Oh, way more effective.
5 mana, 3 generic and 2 black, for an enchantment with flash. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Your creatures are going to be dying left and right.
Especially if you're doing that Ashnod Altar Tenacious Dead combo we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You're going to sacrifice like 4 times.
And you just
because. And
every time you sacrifice, you get a +1/+1 counter for what you sacrificed, and a +1/+1 counter for what your opponent has sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep dropping down
You just keep
their side of the board.
killing everything. Everything's going to die.
Yeah. Pretty much all that's going to be left is a Mortician Beetle.
And your skeleton.
And your skeleton, but he's going to be tapped.
That is true. You know what you could also do?
What?
If you're running Prized Amalgam, you can dump them in your graveyard, sack both of them.
Oh,
Bring in the ones,
yes.
Get them back, sack them both.
Yeah, you could. Or sack Prized Amalgam for any reason. Get the Mortician Beetle trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Sack the Tenacious Dead afterwards.
That is true.
And you can... All you need is a Prized Amalgam in your graveyard for any reason whatsoever.
Yep.
Whether you hardcast it and sacrifice it, or do anything else. And then you can sacrifice both of them to Ashnod's Altar.
And getting
4
mana.
colorless mana, and do God only knows what.
2 death triggers.
2 death triggers.
Yeah, I really like the concept of killing everything on the field. As you know, because I've made this deck.
Yeah.
Not this deck. I made a similar deck. It was my Jinx Idol deck, which is weird because Jinx Idol is definitely the worst part of that.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I think Mortician Beetle might fit in that deck.
It wouldn't, actually. Here's the problem with that deck. The deck is specifically designed that everything dies. Everything will die. If it's a creature, it dies. So, like Mortician Beetle, alright, it's sacrificed. Well, darn. Does it come back? No. Crap. Which is a lot of the reasons why I don't run a lot of the cards, because they'll just...
Right.
Maybe I should not run friggin' Necrotic Plague.
No, the card is a double-edged sword.
That card is amazing. Shut up.
It's hilarious, and I love it.
I love Necrotic Plague. Especially when people just stop playing creatures and get all grumpy because Necrotic Plague is still on the field. So like, I'm not going to play my stuff. Fuck you. It's great.
So having your opponent sacrifice stuff is all well and good. And having yourself sacrifice stuff is also all well and good. But then all your stuff is dead. And that's no fun. So put in Shield Rip.
That's a lot of fun.
So, and people are definitely going to be trying to kill off your Mortician Beetle as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you drop in Shieldred, Whispering One. 5 generic and 2 black for a legendary creature, Praetor. With Shieldred is a 6/6 with Swamp Walk, because that matters in this deck. Not at all. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is useful.
Mm-hmm.
What's more useful is, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. Now that is
really
valiant.
annoying.
Keep your opponent's board state nice and clean. Double her up with Dictate of Erebos, so that your opponent just can't keep anything on the board. And just have a really big beetle.
Yep. Problem with that, though. People don't let Shieldred stay on the battlefield. Ever. I've seen people play Shieldred twice. Both times it went a turn. Not a turn round, it went a turn. People either kill Shieldred or kill the person playing Shieldred.
You also play lots of multiplayer.
That is true.
Where everyone has an answer for everything.
That is true. But if someone doesn't have... Well, Shieldred is kind of a special case. Because, like, if someone doesn't have if it's, like, not multiplayer and someone doesn't have a response to Shieldred, they're gonna lose.
Yes.
They just can't beat that. Especially since
it's hard to...
Any creature returns to the battlefield?
Yeah.
Any creature, Colby.
Anyone.
Any creature. It's like, I bring back Emrakul because...
You don't get cast triggers. But that doesn't matter with the Aeon's Torn.
Yeah, the first one. I think probably the best color to go with Mortician Beetle is probably red, though.
Yeah. It's definitely a great color, because then you start getting into creatures that... Like a Vexing Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Vexing Devil is a 1 mana for a 4/3. When Vexing Devil enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to him or her. If a player does, sacrifice Vexing Devil. So your opponent has a choice now. Your opponent can either let you keep a 4/3, which they know is just going to keep hitting them in the face.
For 4.
For 4. Or they can take 4 damage and make your beetle bigger. Which still seems like the better option, but they're not going to want to do that.
I mean, they're not going to want either of these options.
No, they're not, but it makes the second option much less appealing.
That's the beauty of Vexing Devil. It's like, I don't want to do either of these. And another card that like has a choice like this is like Browbeat.
Yeah.
It's like someone takes 5 or I draw 3. And I take 5 because I can't let you.
Red also has creatures that come into play with haste that you sacrifice at the end of turn.
That is true. Arc Reaver,
Ball Lightning,
Spark Ball.
Yeah,
Spark
any
Ball
any of the ones that at the end of your turn you sacrifice them. Those are fantastic in this deck.
Ooh. Devil tokens.
Yes.
Put in like 3 devil tokens.
The devil tokens from Shadows.
Yep.
Where you sacrifice them to... Or, no, you don't sacrifice them.
No,
it's when they die.
It's when they die, so you just swing them, and they're like, well, I take it, and like, now Ashnod's altar and sacrifice.
So much more mana.
No! Yes. I love killing things.
Killing things is great.
No, killing things is great. I mean, you can run any of the zombie cards. I'm trying to think of, like, weird, like, I know my entire deck. I don't think any of them work really all that well with Mortician Beetle. I guess one thing you could do is run Immortal Servitude, which is 3 black-white hybrids, X, return all cards from your graveyard to the battlefield whose converted mana cost is X or less.
You know, that would work if you just sacrificed a whole bunch of stuff with Ashnod's Altar and you have 3 mana just in land.
Yep.
You basically just... Yeah,
No, it's X, so they have to be the same.
Oh.
So you can't pay like 10 and bring everything from 10
You're
or
right.
less.
It's X, not X or less.
Yeah, my bad.
Still, If you just sacrificed a bunch of 1-mana things...
Mm-hmm. Which we're going to talk to when we get to my card.
Oh, for sure. Oh, are you running Immortal Servitude?
I am totally running Immortal Servitude. That's one of the reasons why I'm so quiet in this episode, because I'm like, all the cards that I want to mention are cards that I'm going to mention in my half.
So
what other cards do you got for me?
Oh, I got a lot of cards that you'll probably already be running. But
like what?
Like Desecration Demon.
Like Desecration Demon is good. I actually don't run Desecration Demon.
I think you could.
I think he's not good enough.
I think your opponent's going to want to keep him tapped. And if you're running Dictate of Erebos, they're not going to have the creatures to do it.
That is true. That is very true. But he's I mean, that ain't bad. The other demons are better though.
Fair enough. A card that I'm running that you're definitely not running.
How do you know?
Because it's not a demon.
That is true.
Selfless Spirit.
But it's one, it's white, and two, it's a cleric. I could totally run this in my Shadowborn Apostle deck because I am black-white, and it's a cleric, which I will get into later. Go ahead.
You could run it.
I'm not.
It's not helpful to you.
Actually, it could be. Just I will get into it later.
2 mana for a Spirit Cleric with flying. You can sacrifice Selfless Spirit to give creatures you control indestructible until end of turn. So, not only does your Mortician Beetle get a little bit bigger, but it's also indestructible now. Because people are going to want to kill it.
Yep.
All day. Every day. They're going to want to kill that thing.
So they'll essentially have to do, I guess 2 for 2, because you also lose. Because like kill spell your Beetle is like, well, I sacrifice Selfless Spirit, and like, well, in response to that, I kill it again. So it results first.
You still don't technically lose.
It is a 2 for 2 and not a 1 for 1.
It's even.
Yeah.
It still breaks down to a 1 for 1.
Yeah.
Which is, Magic economy is not a bad thing.
Yeah. It is adequate.
It actually works out better for the player with Mortician Beetle than it does for the other player.
Yeah.
Because you can bring it back.
Yeah. Well, your opponent can kill it again, too.
Yeah.
But I get your point. There are
worse things in the world. There are worse things in the world.
Yeah, but Selfless Spirit is really good. It's a little back-ass words to think in this deck where you're trying to kill as many things as possible, get all of your shit in.
But if you sacrifice Selfless Spirit with a Dictate of Erebos out, you've just made them sacrifice something and given stuff of yours indestructible.
Yeah, but if they also have a Dictate of Erebos, then you'll have to sacrifice something, and then they'll have to sacrifice something, and you'll have to...
So board wipe, you still don't lose.
That is true. Yeah, but then you'll lose your Mortician Beetle. I mean, he'd be a big-ass Mortician Beetle by the time you actually have to get rid of it, but it'll be a big-ass Mortician Beetle. You could run Fling.
You could run Fling.
So if you have, like, multiple Mortician Beetles, you're like, yeah, and I can't Doomblade. That's my general go-to kill spell. Like, murder your Mortician Beetles. Like, aha, in response I Fling it. Do, like, 10 to you, my other Mortician Beetle gets another counter on him. It's like, shit.
So much damage.
I love Fling. I love how Fling is just, like, a go-to, like, I have a big thing that doesn't have flying or trample or anything. What do I do with it? Fling it. Perfect.
Brian Stouthart.
It would work. He's black, too, isn't he?
No, he's red and white.
Just when he's black. Alright.
I don't know why he's white. He just is a big angry giant that throws cows.
Giants are usually red and or white.
Fair enough. He just happens to be both. So, let's talk about Muldrifter, because 3 mana to draw 2 cards is great.
It is really good. Especially since you also get the sacrifice ability.
Right.
Muldrifter is like... I run Muldrifter in some of my random just EDH decks that just happen to be blue.
I mean, yeah, you could cast it for the 5 mana, or you could cast it for its evoke cost.
That's one of the reasons why it's good. Is like early on, it's a draw spell, which is good. Later on, it's a 2/2 body that also draws spells
and flies.
Now,
if you want to get stupid,
and is a fish.
No, it's not a fish. It's an elemental.
But it's a fish. Look at that art.
Look, because it looks like a fish and acts like a fish doesn't mean it's a duck.
You're right, it's a fish.
But you can... The fun thing about Muldrifter is if you're running Muldrifter and Ashnod's Altar in the same deck, you can cast Muldrifter for its evoke cost. Its evoke cost goes on its evoke trigger goes on the stack, and then you can sacrifice it out from underneath that ability to add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool.
Yup.
And Mortician Beetle doesn't care how it died.
Can you? Is the evoke an actual a triggered ability? Okay.
You may cast this spell for its evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrificed when it enters the battlefield.
Yes, it's sacrificed when it enters the battlefield. Like, that could be... It may be. Because, like, a triggered ability usually begins with when and not... And a triggered ability That evoke cost means you may cast...
Let's read the whole ability.
No, I don't wanna. Go ahead.
Evoke represents two abilities. A static ability that functions in any zone from which the card with Evoke can be cast, and a triggered ability that functions on the battlefield. Evoke cost means you may cast this card by paying costs rather than paying its mana cost. And when this permanent enters the battlefield, if its evoke cost was paid, its controller sacrificed. Paying a card's evoke cost follows the rules for paying alternative costs.
Alright, so I was right with the fact that, like, well, it doesn't say when, which it's not. It does. It just does so in Oracle, because they're not a reminder text, which is
Right.
stupid.
Well,
How...
Evoke came into play before some of the subtle rules changes about triggered abilities
That
happened.
is true. It is
It's
pre...
Lorwyn.
It is pre-2010,
Yeah.
which is when everything... Or no, it was 2006 when everything changed. What other cards do you...
We've spent a lot of time talking about cards in my particular wheelhouse that are also in your wheelhouse. So let's just talk about you.
Let's just... I want to talk about me. Talk about I want to talk about Summon Shadowborn Apostles because they're really freaking good. Alright, so Shadowborn Apostle is my card for the week. So Shadowborn Apostle is a 1/1 for 1 black, as I mentioned earlier. I think it's a she.
That could be a he.
It could be, but I really think it's a she. Like, getting, like, really close to the art, like, she's got something going on in the chest area, so I think it's a she. I'm gonna refer to Shadowborn Apostle as a he and a she throughout the video. Not because I can't tell, but because I'm just really bad at pronouns. Anyway, Shadowborn Apostle is a 1/1 for 1 black mana. A human cleric creature token. Cleric is actually kind of important.
It's not a
to explain.
token.
What, did I say token?
Yes, you did.
I meant a human cleric creature card. Technically a token, because you just keep putting more in. Anyway,
I don't think that...
whatever. Anyway, her first ability, which is the most interesting one, is a deck can have any number of cards named Shadowborn Apostle.
It's the human version of Relentless Rats.
It is. It is, in my opinion, the better version of Relentless Rats. Better as in more fun, not better as in powerful.
I was going to say, I feel like Relentless Rats is basically the same thing, except for the second ability.
Yeah, the second ability makes Relentless Rats different. The problem with Relentless Rats versus Shadowborn Apostle is Relentless Rats' ability focused exclusively on just Relentless Rats. So you have nothing but Relentless Rats. However, with Shadowborn Apostle, it focuses on, like, something else. So you have, like, a little, like, medium to balance.
Look, if I can have any number of cards named this in my deck, I'm going to exploit that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But, like, there's a little bit of balance you need to. Like, what you can do to exploit
I'm
it.
going to build me a Relentless Rats EDH deck.
Do it.
I don't have a legendary rat commander, though.
It exists.
You're right, because Kamigawa exists.
Yep, and there was a Black Rat Folk. I know, I've seen this deck, actually. It actually it wasn't exclusively Relentless Rats and Swamps.
Nope, needs to be Relentless Rats and Swamps, and that's it.
Yep, and a Throwing Stone.
Okay.
Which is a card I will mention here in a minute. Anyway.
The chances of hitting that Throwing Stone.
Yes, you could legally have a deck composed of entirely of 60 Shadowborn Apostles.
You'd never be able to play anything. But
Yeah,
yes,
like, it would suck, but you could do it. Or you could have a deck composed of Shadowborn Apostles and a couple Swamp in there. It also would suck. Anyway, Shadowborn Apostles' second ability, which is the one that actually is more fun to talk about, is pay 1 black, sacrifice 6 creatures named Shadowborn Apostle. Search your library for a demon creature card and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. So they're cultists.
Yes, they are.
You sacrifice 6 of them and they go get demons, which I love. Fun fact: it was printed in M14 back when they were still doing core sets. Also in M14.
Back in my day, we had core sets,
And they weren't very interesting.
And then you have the people who are like, back in my day, we didn't have core sets.
Back in my day, damage went on the stack, and we liked it. Anyway, they also printed in Magic 14 Shadowborn Demon, who was a big 6/6 demon? 5/6. He was a big 5/6 demon who had, like, a little crown thing that was in the same shape as the Shadowborn Apostle's staff. For 5 mana, he was a 5/6 demon flying. When he enters the battlefield, destroy target non-demon creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are fewer than 6 creature cards in your graveyard. Sacrifice a creature.
Which, if you cast him the way that he was designed, there won't be.
No, there will be.
No. Because you sacrifice 6 Shadowborn Apostles.
Yeah, and then you
They'll go to the graveyard.
Yeah.
His ability, at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are fewer than 6...
Yeah. Oh, okay.
If you cast him if you put him onto the battlefield the way he was designed,
yes,
you never have to sacrifice a creature.
Okay, I thought you were saying the exact opposite.
No,
like if you brought him out with the Shadowborn Apostles, you would have to sacrifice creatures.
No,
no, you won't. You sacrifice 6. That was the whole point. He was actually pretty. I assume he was actually pretty decent and limited. Anyway,
I would have played it. Well, he would have been terrible in draft.
Yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't have been that bad. You would get, especially if you're going like a creature, kind of like aggro kind of thing.
Yeah, but to be able to have the Shadowborn Apostles in a draft...
No, you wouldn't go Shadowborn Apostles. I'm referring to just the demon.
That's fair. He's a 5/6 flyer.
Yeah, 5/6 flyer, and by then you're gonna have like 5, and so you'll just like swing. You'll sacrifice one of your 1/1s you played turn 3. Anyway, he's decent. He would probably work better in with your card than mine.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, mine he works with my card. But he doesn't.
But your card also works with my card.
Yeah, he doesn't work with my deck that I'm going to talk about.
So I would just put in a bunch of Shadowborn Apostles, him, and Mortician Beetle, and just be like, boop.
Yeah. So yeah, as you were saying earlier, you just want Shadowborn Apostles.
No, I don't want just Shadowborn Apostles. I want just Relentless Rats.
That is true. Yeah, and you can't really sacrifice Relentless Rats. Anyway, another card that you could run that works with both Relentless Rats and Shadowborn Apostles is Thrumming Stone. Which Thrumming Stone is a 5-mana artifact that says spells you cast.
Oh no.
Spells you cast have Ripple 4. And Ripple 4 means whenever you cast a spell, you may reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast any revealed cards with the same name as the spell without paying their mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. So in EDH, which is the deck the format I play this card in, you only have one card of a single name in your library, except Shadowborn Apostle.
Yep.
I have about 35 in my EDH deck.
Which means you're pretty much guaranteed to not whiff unless you hit 4 lands.
Essentially, like 4 lands or like 4 combination of land and or demon. But it's like it's a 33% chance. It's literally a third, and I'm doing 4, so it's very unlikely that none of them will be a Shadowborn Apostle. So like 1 mana. That's the beauty of it. If I do whiff, I'll just play another Shadowborn Apostle. 1 mana, Shadowborn Apostle. Reveal 4. Hey, look, there's 2 of them in here. Play them both. It happens twice more. Reveal the top 8. Hey, look, 2 more Shadowborn Apostles. Reveal the next 8. Hey, look, 4 more Shadowborn Apostles. Reveal the next 16. All the Shadowborn Apostles.
Cold Snap was an interesting set.
Oh, it was. Before I get on demons, there's one more artifact that's really, really, really good with the Shadowborn Apostle deck. This is one that's straight value with Skull Clamp.
Yeah, that's just a good card.
Oh yeah,
just a good card.
Oh, it's so good. It's just a 1-drop artifact.
So good it's
equips
banned.
for 1. What's it banned in?
Modern.
I did not know that. I don't doubt it.
Banned in Legacy.
Wow.
So good it's banned.
It was banned in the Mirrored block as well. Skull Clamp.
Yeah, no, that was one of the emergency standard bans they had because it was just breaking magic.
It's too good. It is so good. So I run it in my decks. And the beauty of it is 1-drop artifact equips for 1, colorless, both of them. Equipped creature gets +1/-1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards.
Shadowborn Apostles are 1/1s.
Yes, they are. They'll die, and I'll draw 2 cards.
Can just chain them together for as long as you've got mana.
And then most likely you're going to draw another Shadowborn Apostles. You play it. It's really, really good. Really, really good. So, I should probably explain why I'm so willing to kill off all my Shadowborn Apostles when I need 6 of them. The reason for that is because I run this in a commander deck, and my commander is Athreos, God of Passage.
I love this card. This card is worth an episode. It really is.
He is really good. Problem is, I just keep talking about this deck. I mean, I'd have to put some more thought into it beforehand before I think of like, other ways to just abuse Athreos, God of Passage. Literally anything involving sacrifice.
Or he's just a fantastic value card. He's 3 mana.
He has 3 mana for 5/4. I mean, you have to have stuff, but
But you'll have stuff.
yeah, I'll have plenty of stuff because he makes sure of that.
But he doesn't need to be a 5/4 because his ability is just dope.
Yep. So Athreos, God of Passage, is a 3 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white, and 1 black legendary enchantment creature god. He is indestructible, as most gods. He has the same god ability that as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life.
Now, what I find incredibly fun and interesting about this card is, A, it's creature you own, not control.
Yep.
So if your opponent takes control of creatures of yours,
And it dies.
it still triggers. B, it's target opponent. It's not an opponent, it's target opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to pick. They don't get to pick.
And there's always one guy in a group, especially if you're playing like multiplayer. There's always one guy who's all like, I don't care. Whatever, you can have it. I ain't paying 3 life. And there's always...
Then there's that one guy who's like, I'm at 6. I can't do this,
like,
guys.
I can't. Like, I can do at most 1, and you just sacrifice 7 of them. What do you want me to do here? So Athreos is my commander, so I'm perfectly willing to kill off. Like, there'd be points where I'm just like, I have like 10 Shadowborn Apostles and it's like Skull Clamp, empty hand. Sacrifice them all. Are you gonna pay 30 life? No. So like, well, you can't just pay like 6 life because it doesn't really change anything. Might as well only have all of them back. The only drawback to this is if you overuse Skull Clamp and draw too many cards.
Yeah.
And you would sacrifice them, and then they go back to your hand, and then you have like 12 cards in your hand. You have to discard the Shadowborn Apostles anyway.
Yeah. Which then Athreos doesn't trigger.
Yeah,
because
like
dying is very specifically from the battlefield to the graveyard.
So like that's the problem is like, yeah, Athreos, get my Shadowborn Apostles back. Crap, I have too many Shadowborn Apostles now. So I have.
At which point it doesn't actually matter because you probably just drew a bunch of Shadowborn Apostles. So
Yeah, that's true. Like I've had that happen. Shadowborn Apostles, Athreos, really, really, really good deck.
Athreos, just really, really good.
Really, really good, yeah. Now that I'm talking about other cards, let's get to actually the win cons of my decks. And I'm going to give my top 10 demons to summon with Shadowborn Apostles. I don't even know if this is 10, I just said top, not even in particular order. My personal favorite, and the one I think is probably the best demon to summon with Shadowborn Apostles, is Obnixilis Unshackled. Obnixilis Unshackled is a 6 mana legendary creature demon, flying trample. Whenever an opponent searches his or her library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. Second ability is, whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Obnixilis Unshackled.
You know, this card would be great with?
Mortician Beetle?
Yeah.
Yep. Obnixilis is really, really good.
Oh, man.
And it's mainly for the second one, because, like, yeah, you sacrifice 6 Shadowborn Apostles to bring out Big Ob the first time, but then, like, the second time you bring out a demon, like, that's 6 counters on him.
Yeah.
That's 6! Holy crap. Another fun fact is the fact that, like, if you have something like Ghost Quarter, which is, like, tap, destroy land, they search for another land. If you have Big Ob on the field, that's essentially a strip
You're running
line.
white, you can Path to Exile.
Mm-hmm. Like, you gonna search your library? No. Good.
You have made a smart decision this day.
Good idea, my friend. There's a lot of like, yeah, they can search your library for things. Like, you don't want to. You can. You don't.
EDH runs a lot of tap lands.
Oh, yeah,
Modern
a whole bunch of
runs
search.
a lot.
Like, the best part is people just forget.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, I search for this. It's like, Obnixilis happens. Shit. Type down their life total. And it's like, it's 10. Like, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of
Super
life.
a lot. It's a lot even in Commander.
And they have to sacrifice a creature. That's the best part. And it's like, not only is it a lot of damage, but they also have to sack a creature. Which may be their commander. Even funny if like it's their only creature is their commander and it has hexproof. It's like, it's indestructible. Like, no, it's not. Sacrifice.
I have a 6/6 flying hexproof indestructible commander.
Yep.
Goodbye.
So anyway, Obnixilis is really good. He also works really well with the next one, which is Kagemaru, First to Suffer, which is a demon from
Saviors of Kamigawa.
He is a black 5-drop legendary creature demon spirit. His power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. And pay a black and sacrifice him. All creatures get -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand.
You know, I don't He works, but I don't think he works well because Shadowborn Apostles you're just going to be dumping out of your hand constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like you play all your Shadowborn Apostles and then you're like, all right, pay a black, sacrifice Kagamaru, everything gets minus like 4/-4. At that point in time, Omnixilis is like a 5/5, so he lives. All your Shadowborn Apostles die.
That's true.
Like 15 Omnixilis counters.
Yeah.
And Athreos kicks in. Is someone going to pay 3 life for every single one of those? No. All of them are back. And then Kagamaru, if you manage to give Kagamaru like +1/+1 from something, his power and toughness would be 1 greater than the amount of damage he deals.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to sacrifice him. And was like, yeah, he deals damage to everyone.
Still, he can come back. Now,
oh, yeah. Oh, Athreos also triggers on him.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yep. Now, what your opponent can do is pick and choose which creature you get back.
Yeah.
Chances are they're not letting him come back.
Yeah, they won't let him come back, but they'll be like, well, I guess you can get 5 of your Shadowborn Apostles
You can pick
back.
a different target for each thing that dies with Athreos.
Yeah, a different target. Like,
so if you have 6 creatures die, you can pick a different opponent for as many of those as
so
you
if
want
like
to.
one opponent like really likes Kagamaru because like he's keeping the board down,
you can be like, hey.
and it's just like, hey, I can get him back and I'll just play him again. Sure, why not? And that's why Kagamaru is really good. Next demon, who I think is really good, Overseer of the Damned. He is also really good.
You keep saying this. You wouldn't have picked them if they weren't.
That is true. Well, not really. There's a couple on here I don't think are that good, but are good enough for me to mention.
Well, let's...
But Overseer of the Damned, really good. Creature Demon, flying. He's a 5/5. When Overseer of the Damned enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. That's already a really good ability. And whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped.
Yeah?
Any of their creatures die. It's not any creature, it's a creature an opponent controls. But still.
No, that's... And you get a token, which can then be sacrificed later, or killed later.
Or just swung.
Which then makes Omnixilis bigger.
Exactly.
Solid stuff right there.
He's really good. Next one on the list is, there's not really much to talk about with him, Pestilence Demon. He is really good. I don't know if I'm running him or not. I think I am.
What? Really?
He is really, really good with Whip of Erebos, which I am surprised you didn't mention with your card, but I'm going to mention now.
Okay, well, you don't sacrifice with Whip of Erebos. It just gets exiled.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, but you can play him and then sacrifice him and he just gets exiled.
Or I could run Athreos.
You could.
And that would just be way more fun.
No, because they wouldn't. Yeah, they'd still be sacrificed. They just wouldn't go to the graveyard because the replacement effect to go to the graveyard. No, they'd still die because they enter the battlefield first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking like before I realized that no, Athreos does let death triggers happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pestilence Demon. He is for 8 mana, a 7/6 flying creature. Pay 1 black. Pestilence Demon deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. That's a lot. That kills all your Shadowborn Apostles. Fun fact about Pestilence Demon: if he deals the damage to everything.
Yeah.
So if you have Whip of Erebos on the field, not only can you pay 1 to deal 1 damage to everything, but he has lifelink now, dealing 1 damage to everything, gaining you 1 life for each thing.
Yeah.
That's a shitload of life.
Yeah.
If you have plenty of mana, which EDH you're probably going to. When I did it, he did. Pestilence Demon, 6 mana. He deals damage equal to himself by a shart-load.
Yeah.
He dies. Oh no, I gain 1 billion life. Whip of Erebos, bring him back. Do it again.
Yeah.
Gain a buttload of life, essentially wrath the entire board.
Twice.
Is really good.
Wrath your opponent's life totals.
Yep, he good. Well, he only do 6 each. Anyway, another really good one. He's probably one of my favorites. He's probably my second favorite, is Reaper of the Abyss. He costs 6. He is a 6/6 flyer. He has Morbid. At the beginning of each instep, if a creature died this turn, for any reason, destroy target non-demon creature. There was a point in time where me and a guy was playing, and that jerk had essentially it was a copy deck.
Right.
And he would just copy all your creatures.
Yep.
He copied my Reaper of the Abyss.
So you each had a Reaper of the Abyss.
And we couldn't destroy each other. We couldn't destroy each other's Reaper of the Abysses. But we could destroy each other's other things.
Right.
So I'd be like, Shadowborn Apostle. I destroy your Shadowborn Apostle because I have no other targets. It's like, ugh. We just sat there and he would just keep copying my Reaper of the Abyss. So he had 4 and I had 1. I'm like, no, and he killed it. It was great. But he's really fun. He's really good.
He only kills 1 thing each turn.
Each turn.
Yeah.
Each turn. Even your opponent's turns.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Multiplayer. That makes that gross.
Makes it really gross.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Another really good one, probably one of the best, is Runescarred Demon.
I love Runescarred Demon.
Runescarred Demon is really good, essentially because he's a 6/6 flyer. Oh, and when he enters the battlefield, you demonic tutor.
But you can also use him quite nicely with Shieldred.
Yep. You just keep getting stuff.
You keep sacrificing him and bringing him back with Shieldred.
Yep. If only Shieldred was also a demon.
Unfortunately,
Shieldred was
not.
also a demon, I would totally run her.
Oh, no.
I would totally put down the $15 to get her.
If she were a demon, she'd be so gross.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, she's a praetor.
Yep. Another good demon is Ravenous Demon. I like him particularly because he just kind of works with flavor.
I love how he transforms from a demon into a demon.
Yep. He's just a 4/4 demon for 5. But sacrifice a human. Transform Ravenous Demon. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast sorcery. That's kind of boring, but you kill a human. Shadowborn Apostles are humans.
Yes, that's important.
Yep, and he turns into a 9/9 Flying Trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a human. If you don't,
it deals one...
Tap Archdemon of Greed, which that's his name now, and it deals 9 damage to you. So
essentially it attacks you.
Yeah, he will attack you back.
But it's not combat damage, so that's okay.
Yes. Nonetheless, though, like his Shadowborn Apostles, you'll have fun.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fun. I like that.
He's fun, and he's a 9/9 Flying Trample. Like, there are surprisingly very few... There are, like, no demons that are, like, indestructible. There's no 10-drop demon who's, like, a 7/7 Flying Trample indestructible or Flying Hexproof or anything.
Right.
They're all big, and they're all flying, and they all have, like, some kind of death-related ability. But none of them have any kind of, like, hexproof or a version to, like, removal or anything. With the exception of Ormondal from Shadows over Innistrad.
Who is indestructible.
Yeah, he's...
With flying and lifelink.
Yeah, but he also is land, so you can't go get him.
No, that's true, but he would work in this deck because you would have the...
Oh, he's actually in the deck because he works really well. Actually, no, there's another... I think he's indestructible. He may be. The backside of Elberst the Binding Blade, whose backside is... I know his name... Withengar, who is a 13/13 Flying Intimidate Trample. So no, he's still destructible.
Yep.
It
would have been more interesting if he was indestructible. It would have been more interesting flavor-wise.
Yeah, because he got to be bound to the blade.
He was bound to the blade, yeah.
Fun fact, I run the Binding Blade because it's a demon, and it kind of works in Shadowborn Apostles, so I ran it. Fun fact, in the lore, Withengar is known because it is the demon that killed Saint Traft.
Oh.
When we found this out, it was because we were playing a game. It was a 4-player game. 2 of us died, and the only 2 people left was John, who was playing my deck, and he had Withengar on the field, and my friend Stuart, who was playing Geist of St. Traft as his commander. And John killed him with Withengar, and we were looking up because we're just curious about Withengar in the lore. It is like, Withengar was known to be the one who killed Geist of St. Traft. I'm like, damn it, John, not only did you win the game, but you won the flavor game, too.
You win flavor.
It's like, darn. So Withengar is really good. You can't grab him with Shadowborn Apostle because he's really
equipment.
He's really an equipment artifact card that isn't really good. Let's see, the next 2 are okay. One of them is way better than the other. There's Eater of Hope, who is decent, actually. He's a 6/4 flyer. Not bad. His evasion is the fact that you can pay 3, sacrifice 2 other creatures, destroy target creature. That's not the ability I meant to say. The ability I meant to say was pay 1, sacrifice another creature, regenerate him. So if they're like, murder it, and it's like, well, kill off the Shadowborn Apostle instead.
Yeah.
Like, so he's got some evasion to him, so that ain't bad. Other than that, he doesn't got really anything. You can destroy creatures by sacrificing 2 others. Isn't bad. I'm actually not sure why I'm not running him.
You should be.
Probably because I'm just out of cards. Like,
Fair
when
enough.
Literally a 30-year deck is Shadowborn Apostles, you very quickly realize how few card slots you have.
You're gonna have to start pulling Shadowborn Apostles.
Like, no, I've already pulled as many as I can. Because I did. I used to have like 50 or something like that. Like a ludicrous number of Shadowborn Apostles. And like, I have too many. And I need more spaces for other things. And now I'm at the point where I can't take away anymore.
I feel like the next card on your list is kind of a double-edged sword.
It is.
And this could turn quite bad for you. Harvester of Souls is a 6/6 demon. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may draw a card. That happens like every day.
Yep. It's May, so I don't have to draw.
That's good.
Yeah. However, a lot of people, I've
It does
actually
mean you
noticed
can miss
a
the
lot of
trigger, though.
times this is also another card that gets copied. I'm just like, no, I have my own Harvester of Souls, and so whenever your creatures die, I draw a card.
Yeah.
It's like, crap.
It's worth copying. The demon I would run in this is not a very good demon for this particular deck. But it's one of my favorite demons. Abyssal Persecutor.
He is really good.
No, he's not. Well, he's good if you're trying to hardcast things.
Wait, Abyssal Persecutor is the one with Devotion to Black, right? Oh, then I'm thinking the wrong one. Like, the one with Devotion to Black, whose name I can't remember.
Abyssal Persecutor is 4 mana
him!
for a 6/6 flying trample demon.
Yep.
Here's the downside to that. You can't win the game, and your opponents can't lose the game.
Yep. He actually is pretty good. Just due to the fact that
he's
he is a
6/6
6/6 flying trample for 4.
Yeah. I ran him in a deck right alongside Platinum Angel, and that was fun.
Yep.
People were like, well, I want to kill him, but I've got to kill... no, they wanted to kill Platinum Angel, but there is a 6/6 beat stick.
Well, fun fact, Platinum Angel is also a 7/7 flyer.
Yeah.
It doesn't have trample, but
Doesn't
still,
have
it's also
trample.
a beat stick. The beauty of Abyssal Persecutor is his own evasion is the fact that you can't win.
Yeah.
It's
People
just
just
like-
don't want to kill him.
It's like, I don't want to kill you, because then you can't win, but I kind of have to kill him due to the fact that
He's
you,
a 6/6.
you will eventually if I let you keep beating at me with a 6/6 flying trample.
Yeah, no, I like to run him in a deck with him and Platinum Angel and an Ashnod's Altar.
Yep, just a 1-point sacrifice him. Win the
Just
game.
boop, and I win.
There's a way, like, there was a controlled deck I saw, who, like, the whole point was to make the game last as long as possible, where just like, alright, I play Abyssal Persecutor, okay, and like, eventually the plan was like, eventually you win, but the whole point is like, once you get your opponent to 0 life,
You just keep swinging.
you don't let them kill your Abyssal Persecutor.
Which
It's
is
like,
perfect.
I kill your creature
perfect flavor.
so I don't lose, so I can lose the game, so I can go play somewhere else. It's like counterspell.
It's
like,
perfect
why?
flavor. Because his flavor text reads, his slaves crave death more than they desire freedom. He denies them both.
Yup. That is actually beautiful. I really like that.
The only thing your opponent can do is concede.
And but if they have pride, let's be real, Magic players,
They have pride.
they have pride. They will not let that go. Though he is fun. He won't work at
He's
all
a
with
hilarious-
this deck, but
yeah.
he's a fun demon. Though probably the best demon in the game is a little card called Grizzlebrand, who is 8 mana for a legendary creature demon. He is flying, lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards.
He is so good.
He is a 7/7. He's got a lot of 7 on him. He is banned in Commander, so I can't actually run him in my Commander deck. But if I could...
He is a modern legal... He's a modern legal Yawgmoth bargain.
Oh, even better, because the fact that he's got flying and lifelink.
And he doesn't require you to skip your draw step.
Yep. He is really, really good.
It's 1-to-1. I mean, yeah, you pay 7 life and you draw 7 cards. That's like paying 1 life and drawing 1 card with Yawgmoth
Yeah,
bargain.
the Yawgmoth bargain is like, what, 5 mana?
6.
Yeah, he's 8. And 4 of that is black.
Still.
Difference being Yawgmoth bargain is...
Harder to get rid of?
Yeah. Yawgmoth bargain is way harder to get rid of and is a little bit more abusable. Due to the fact you have to do it in increments of 7 with Grizzlebrand. So if you're at 6 life, you can't be like, alright, I go to 1 to get what I need to kill you this turn. Like, if you're at 6, Grizzlebrand just sits there. Like, I guess I have to swing with Grizzlebrand first, but if you have to swing first, like, oh, well, I can't use my combat tricks after the fact.
No, you swing, and then you draw a bunch, and then you combat trick.
No, you can't, because it's when he deals damage. I was referring to swinging with him to gain the 6 life off of 7 life off of lifelink.
Does he have lifelink?
He does have lifelink.
What the fuck? This card is dope.
Yeah, he really, really, really good. That's why he's banned in Commander. Because also in Commander, you have 40 life and not 20. So you don't give a crap about that 7 life you just paid. You just drew 7 cards.
Yeah, that card is great.
There's actually a modern turn 2 win, where the whole point of it is just like, alright, you use like discard effects and like give your things haste and swing this turn, and the whole point of it is just like, alright, this is what happens. I managed to discard Grizzlebrand, play a thing, put Grizzlebrand onto the field, give him haste, swing, pay the 7 life, draw, pay 21 life because he has lifelink, draw 21 cards, pay these things, give myself additional combats, swing twice more. Good game. It's very unlikely to do, but possible.
Right.
It's a really, really interesting deck. Other than that, other cards that work well with Shadowborn Apostle, anything that gives creatures +1/+1.
Any demon, any of them.
Yeah.
There are hundreds.
Any of the demons would work. One of the best non-demons that just works with them is something like Adaptive Automaton.
Yeah.
Which is
anything that does anthem effects, so Adaptive Automaton, Door of Destinies.
Just give all your 1/1s just like +5/+5.
Yeah.
Something like Edgewalker. Edgewalker is interesting. I want to mention him. Edgewalker is a 2/2 cleric for a white and a black.
Right.
His ability says, cleric creatures you control cost white, black, less to cast.
Yep. Which makes all of your Shadowborn Apostles free.
Yes, it does. He is one of the very, very few cards that make cards cost a colored mass.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them.
Fun fact, Adaptive Automaton is like a creature.
Right.
That is just costs 3 colorless.
Yes.
If he was a cleric, Edgewalker wouldn't affect him.
Right.
Because he doesn't have a black or a white in his mana cost.
Right.
So it's a really weird case of it works and it doesn't work. It is very interesting. But yeah, he makes all my Shadowborn Apostles, which makes Skullclamp and Athreos just a little bit more interesting. It's like, I'll just play, man. I don't care. All of them free. Whatever. Anyway, that's all I got for Shadowborn
It's actually
Apostle.
kind of insane how closely our two cards would work together.
Yeah, they actually work really well together. Other than the fact that I'd be too busy trying to bring out a demon while you'd be busy turning your beetle into a demon. Because I'd have to sacrifice the 6 Shadowborn Apostles, and by then, like, your beetle is bigger than the demon that I would have to bring out.
Right, because at that point it's at least a 7/7.
I think about it, Omnixilis is essentially just a bigger version of your beetle.
Yeah. And by the time you bring out Omnixilis, my beetle rivals your Omnixilis, at which point it becomes incredibly hard to outrace him.
Eventually, Omnixilis will get there to the fact that Omnixilis is when any creature dies.
Yeah.
And not just whenever they're sacrificed. Anyway, that's all I got.
And that's all I've got.
Cool. Thank you for listening to Pick a Card, Any Card. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or card suggestions, you can email us at
pacac.cast@gmail.com.
Or you can leave them in the comments below.
Welcome to Pick a Card, Any Card.
Where we pick a card.
Any card.
And bring it back with And bring it back with I keep doing it.
Can you not say Whip of Erebos?
No, I can't. Whip of Erebos. That's what I'm... And bring it back with Whip of Erebos like we do every single week.